Howdy, howdy. How are you doing? I am so excited because this is the first time in quite a while that I actually record the video. So this is not from a stream. This is not a stream itself. This is simply a video, a regular video. So I am very excited to be recording new content again. And today we have this video by the Infographics show. I've done, I think, one or two reactions to this channel, and it says the average American versus the average British person. How do they compare? People comparison. So as you know, I'm kind of biased on both sides. First of all, I'm wearing my Union Jack shirt. So hey, does that tell you something about my bias? However, I also really like the US. I love visiting. I am Mexican. So, I guess that's sort of a closer connection to the United States. I don't know if in the greatest of ways, but hey, it's kind of my homie, our homie. So let's see how do they compare the average American versus the average British person.
Two of the closest allies in the world today are the United States of America and the United Kingdom of Great Britain, with both countries considering their bilateral partnership to be the strongest of bonds. The British-American bloodline runs deep, with millions of Americans identifying themselves as having either English, Scottish, Welsh, or Scotch-Irish ancestry. Given these close ties, we thought it would be fun to compare these two powerful nations.
We all know the kind of person that, they keep track of their ancestry. There's a lot of them in America, and they do love to say that they are English or Irish or Welsh. Actually, one of the husbands of one of my aunts is Irish. So hey, not quite British, but
in this episode of
British
the Infographics show, the average American versus the average Brit.
Let's see how they are different.
To click the bell button so that you can be part
I guess
of
America is more of a diverse nation.
First of all, we should explain what the United Kingdom of Great Britain is, as it's often an area of confusion. When we talk about the UK, we are referring to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, which is a sovereign state consisting of 4 countries. England.
A lot of people mix these terms, and actually I think have a video from, I don't remember from whom, but who explains the difference. But of course, it's not the same to say the British Isles, or to say Britain, or to say Great Britain, or the United Kingdom, or England. These are all very different terms. I guess it's
Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The average Brit we are discussing today is someone from the UK. In terms of ancestral relations, according to a Census Bureau American Community Survey, nearly 27 million people identified as being part English, over 5.5 million said Scottish, about 5 million said Scotch-Irish, and nearly 2 million said Welsh.
So of course, English influence in America is huge, especially in like the northern states and mainly New England. I think that tells you a lot. I think Scottish ancestry and I guess Scottish-Irish around the south or the Appalachian Mountains, Appalachia, those mountains. And Welsh, I guess, just spread out the country.
Although Irish and German Americans make up larger portions of the U.S. public, it's thought there are a lot more Americans that have Brit blood flowing through their veins, but no longer consider themselves being anything other than a full-blooded American. With this in mind, we'll start with some comparisons of a physical nature. The average Brit stands just a fraction taller than the average American, with the BBC lately reporting that the average man in the UK is now 5 feet 10 inches, and the average woman is 5 feet 5 inches. American men average 5 feet 9.5 inches, and American women 5 feet 3.5 inches. Both countries are considered to be not so well proportioned.
So would you look at that? I think that the difference is much higher when it comes to women. 5'3" for American women and 5'5" for British women. So,
when compared to other more developed nations, with a new report from the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation stating that
obesity?
the USA is in 18th place on the world's most obese nations list. Only Egypt was the other populous nation in the top 20 countries, which was filled mostly by countries in the South Pacific. The UK, however, might also need to get in shape, with reports stating that obesity is a national tragedy, and that by 2025, the UK will be the fattest country in Europe. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's latest report, the average American male is now 195.7 pounds, and the average woman is 168.5 pounds. The average British man is 100.
Well, just if you were curious, I am 168 pounds, so I weigh the same as an average American woman, which I don't know what that says because I am not 5'3", I am 5'8". So yeah, that kind of tells you a little bit of the overweightness problem in America.
186.2 pounds,
But damn,
and the average woman
Britain
is
is
154
close.
pounds.
I guess the difference is also higher when it comes to women.
Side influence life expectancy? American men on average will live to 77.11 years, and American women
I think this is going to be lower, you know?
Citizens of the United Kingdom can expect to clock out at a similar age on average, with male life expectancy standing at 79.1 and female life expectancy 82.8. The median age, meaning half the country is older and half the country younger, is 37.8 in the USA for men and women, and right on 40 in the UK. Which country?
Quite, you know, the Americans are quite younger, you know, almost, well, a little over 2 years. I'm guessing this is because Americans accept a lot more immigrants than the UK, although the UK is also a place with a lot of immigrants. When it comes to the life expectancy, it looks like the difference now is higher when it comes to the men, about 2 years, while the women is less than 1 year. So hey,
it's 37.8 in the USA for men and women.
What's going on with American men? I think we can point out to a lot of problems when it comes to the crime rates or the drug use or the prison system. I don't know, but I think those factors, you know, make it so they
and right on
live
40 in the UK. Which country is making more babies at the moment? Current statistics state that the US and UK are similar here, with births per woman in America averaging 1.84 and in the UK 1.9. Marriage rates have decreased in many developed nations over the last few decades. According to the CDC, in 2015, 6.8 people per 1,000 of the total population tied the knot in the USA, while in the UK that number was 4.5 per 1,000. Around 42% of UK marriages end in divorce, with almost half of US marriages ending the same way. On that sober note,
can this tell you something about the country? Because British people marry on a lower rate than Americans. However, they also have a, statistically speaking, relatively considerable lesser divorce rate than 42%, 8% less than the one in the USA. So I guess you could say that British people are a lot more careful. Not a lot, you know, are a little bit more careful when it comes to their marriage. Can we say that? Is that accurate?
Sobering note, we'll take a look at money matters. In terms of industry, both nations
Which, by the way, none of the statistics so far have been very significant to each of the countries. Like, they're still pretty similar in a lot of aspects. So let's see if the money situation changes. I think Americans are going to be slightly wealthier, but I don't think it's going to be that big.
Considered champions of the world, but according to the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, the USA citizen grosses a higher salary than the average UK person. The average gross salary in the USA was the 5th highest in the world at $4,893 per month, while the UK sat in 14th place on the list with an average of $3,461.
Oh, wow. So that's quite a difference. Especially because I would imagine the United Kingdom being more expensive to live. Plus, you gotta pay, I imagine, higher taxes in the UK. So when you consider those both factors and the salary that's over $1,000 difference, that might be a little significant. Okay, you know, especially when you consider that the UK, I think it's generally regarded as more developed than the US. So pretty interesting.
In terms of cost of living, Americans might need a few extra dollars, with one report putting the USA in 18th place in the world on a cost of living index and the UK in 29th place. We must also note that cost of living and wages can change dramatically from city to city. If we take a look,
I mean, you can compare London with rural Kansas, for example. And I guess, you know, you can compare New York with like rural Essex. I don't know.
Look at the economics Big Mac index, we find that the cost of a Big Mac in the US is $5.06, while the Brits only pay $3.73. At the same time,
so I'll just shut the fuck up, dude. I was completely wrong about the cost of living in the UK. Apparently, you guys have actually cheaper. I wonder what's the purchasing power. Sorry, not because of it. The purchasing power. Because that can tell us.
The index shows someone in London has to work on average 1 minute longer than someone in New York to buy the same burger. At the high end of the earnings scale, the US is home to the richest man on the planet, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, whose fortune amounts.
Whoa, this video is old, dude. 2017. Oh yeah, that's very old. Yeah. So we got Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Come on, Bill. You're just old news.
To around $87 billion. The richest person in the UK is actually listed as
2
brothers who are part of the Hinduja family. Their net worth is around $16.9 billion, according to...
I don't really know who they are, but hey, if you know more about this family that apparently is the wealthiest in the UK, Definitely feel free to type it in the comments.
Forbes. In total,
what do they
there
do?
are 134 billionaires based in the UK, according to the Sunday Times, while the USA has the most billionaires in the world at 565.
It's now way more.
What do Americans and Brits get for all their hard work? Well, the Brits don't work as hard, according to one study that divided the total number of hours actually worked by the average number of people in employment per year. The USA was 16th on the list at 34.40 hours per week, and the UK was 24th on the list at 32.25 hours per week. The Brits also get more time off, with workers by law given 5.6 weeks of paid vacation time per year. In the US, there is no such law, and paid time off is an agreement made between the employer and the employee. The average paid days off in the US is said to be about 10 days, with that number increasing with the number of years in a certain job. The UK has less public holidays, though, at 8 days, with the US enjoying 10.
Damn, so the average paid vacation number of days that you get in the US is 10. Well, in Britain, or the UK, sorry, it's almost 6 weeks, 5.6 weeks. That's quite the difference, though. That's significant. Okay, so hey, maybe you guys in the UK, when it comes to the cost of living, the wage, and now the paid vacations, maybe you get a better deal when it comes to money. I don't know.
Americans may work harder, but they also seem to be getting more for their buck. While the British public have been dealing with drastically increasing property prices, they also live in very small abodes. Studies have found that Britain's houses on average are some of the smallest in Europe at around 818 square feet. American citizens on average can enjoy much larger living areas, with the average house size being around 2,160 square feet. The US also has more in terms of vehicle ownership.
Well.
America is third on the list of number of vehicles owned per 1,000 people at 797, excluding motorcycles and anything else on two wheels. The UK lies in 34th place on the same list with 519 vehicles per 1,000
Not bad,
people.
But
rising property prices, expensive cars. What does this mean in terms of borrowing money?
And again, public transportation in America is not great, so that's why people own a lot of cars. I imagine that public transport in the UK is gonna be better. I remember when I was in Houston, which, keep in mind, Houston is not that bad when it comes to public transportation, I think. It was messy. I had to walk a lot in order to use the bus.
Household debt statistics, which is measured by all money owed
Same
to
in Miami.
financial institutions, whether it be for
Miami
a
was
house or a
worse.
BMW, has both the UK and the US in the top 10 countries of the world. For 2016, the UK was in 6th place on the household debt list, and the US not far behind in 7th place. UK citizens looking for a higher education and a good start in life might also have to take on a lot of debt before they actually embark on a career. While much of Europe enjoys a free ride or low-cost higher education, England is now said to be the most expensive place in the world to get a college degree. The latest reports state UK nationals attending
Okay, you fail me, Britain. If you surpass America when it comes to student loan debt, that's a dangerous bar to beat, all right? That's not something you want to beat on America.
English University can expect annual tuition to be $11,715 compared to the $9,410 Americans pay on average
still
per
pretty
year.
high,
On
both
average,
of
the
them.
class of 2016 in the USA owed around $37,172 in loans, while students graduating from a university in England could expect to owe as much as something in the region of $40,000 to $55,000. Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland all have cheaper university tuition fees or no tuition fee for Scottish people studying in Scotland. Students may still have to borrow to study, though.
How does that work? You know, if you're English, all right, living in England, and then you move to Scotland, can you get free university? Because he just said studying is free in Scotland, but for Scottish people. So I wonder, you're technically in the same country, right? The United Kingdom. So how does that work? I want, if you guys can explain that in the comments, that'd be pretty
average
cool.
student debt in Northern Ireland and Scotland was around $26,000 and $15,000 respectively. The Welsh have part of their tuition fees paid for by the Welsh government, but students still rack up debts on average of around $24,000.
Not
UK
bad.
citizens may take some comfort in matters of healthcare, with
the
most
NHS,
costs covered by Britain's National Health Service. Americans are not so fortunate, with an article in The Atlantic this year stating that more than a quarter of Americans said that someone in their household was struggling to pay off crushing medical debts. With that, we come to the end of today's show. Head on over.
Jesus Christ, someone in their household. That's interesting. That's a lot of people, and I guess the NHS in the UK is probably good. I'm guessing. Okay, so that was the comparison for the average American and the average British person. So I found that very interesting that overall they're not extremely different, at least when it comes to the physical characteristics. They're pretty much the same weight, they're pretty much the same height, they pretty much live the same amount of years. I mean, the differences are really small. Maybe we found a little bit of a bigger difference when it comes to the weight of women, but other than that, I don't think those differences were pretty significant. Also, something that surprised me is that, Britain or the UK is actually cheaper to live in, which might give them a head when it comes to economics, because not only are they cheaper to live in, although they do have lower wages, but they do have things like paid vacation. They have paid healthcare, which is a pretty huge deal. And if you're American, like you just know how bad not having insurance is. And even just having to cover insurance anyways is pretty bad. So yeah, those things are not pretty great. The British, although they do have their healthcare though, they still have more student loan debt than the average American, which is pretty bad. I mean, you don't want to be the USA on that regard, which is one of the biggest problems Americans have. So, hey, overall, pretty interesting comparison. I think both of them are very good countries, countries that are friends, that they have been friends for so long. They do have a huge historical connection and all that. So definitely, hopefully, go check the original video. It's pretty interesting. And if you enjoyed this one, please give us a like. Subscribe to the channel. I'm still trying to grow, get to 2,000 subscribers, which we're so close to hit. So I would appreciate if you did that. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.